Smell that, chat? That is the smell of nature healing. After a year of just pie in the face after another,
hello, Mario.
We are finally at a point where the natural order of things is starting to fall back into place, where pieces of shit are getting their jaws broken, and the people who actually know what they're doing are the ones who are doing it. It's just a great time all around. But now it's an even greater time. Because you know why? It's because y'all are here. Hello everyone, my name is GirafaStev. I'm the president of the Long Boy Club, the very large enjoyer of all things gaming, wrestling, Anthony Joshua, and my stinky cat who is currently hogging all of the air. Rather, is hogging up all of the goddamn heat in my house at the moment, because right now he's taking a nap in front of the vent, and he is just a cozy little bug. I love my little Henry so much, but he is a hog. He's a big old hog. Yeah. Hi everyone. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. Hello Tom. Hello Zach. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And you may be wondering, after that intro, why is nature healing specifically? And more importantly, who is Anthony Joshua? Well, earlier today, if you presented the same question to me, I would not be able to tell you. Because Anthony Joshua,
hello, Mario,
is a man is a boxing man. He is a
Hello,
boxer
I'm Neil
man.
here. Are you at Giraffe Luchador?
I am, yes. Wait, by the way, where is the homunculus? Hi, homunculus. Nice of you to come out of your Cheetos den. I know that, the naked Cheeto puffs have been they've been your whole identity lately, but it's showtime, brother. We gotta do it. But yeah, I am a Giraffe Luchador Briragi. Is that how you say it? How do you say your name? Can you give me like a shortened version of it? I like shortened versions. Also, hi Dan, welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. Booga Booga Nico Duga. What? Dude, you're gonna like come into the meeting and start spouting nonsense without telling me what the nonsense is?
hello, Mario.
You gotta tell me the nonsense. Bri. Okay. I'll call you Bri then. Welcome to the Long Boy Club. I saw you followed a while back. You're now a member of the Long Boy Club for life. And, as I was saying earlier, I would not know who Anthony Joshua was before this afternoon. All I knew about him was that he is boxer, man. He's a big old box dude. But I now know him as the man that put the lowly Jake Paul in his place. I can't wait for you to finally play the AEW video game that is not for some reason a big-ass Fire Pro World DLC. Oh, listen. You hold on to that little note, because that'll eventually happen. But listen.
hello, Mario.
Hi. Hello, Zach, too. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. Is it fine if I call you Zach, too? Because one of my mods is named Zach, and
I'm sure you won't find a bunch of microtisms to completely derail the entire stream tonight.
No, man. We're here to lock in. We're here to lock the fuck in and play some goddamn Fight Forever. But, obviously, we need to address the elephant in the room, and that is Anthony Joshua, who, as I said before, just completely cleaned Jake Paul's clock. And of course, what better music to have it go to than Dragon Roost Island?
Angie looks a little frustrated here. Look at her reeling. punches. What is this? I mean, they blame Joshua, but it's what? The referee is Jake Paul that's doing this.
Rough tactics gotta stop, okay? Fans didn't pay to see this crap, okay?
Amen.
You gonna fight, but fight within the rules.
Paul's hands are down. Paul unwinds and catapult right hand to the left by Paul. Paul looking to make it a fight now.
Under the body with the right.
Look at this. He just, dude, look at that. That is flush. That is flush on the jaw. Wow. This ain't a grapple contest, brother. This ain't Ring of Honor. Fucking fight, brother. Man, dude, he thinks he's all that, but he's gotten in like no offense.
Hello, Mario.
Yeah. That is Mauro Ranallo, isn't he? I was about to say, like, the match ends with him screaming "Mamma Mia," and from that moment, I knew that this was Mauro Ranallo. Like, he's gotten in no offense. I appreciate Mauro trying to put Jake over a little bit here, but brother, he spends like most of this match just getting his ass kicked.
You know, I give Jake Paul credit for. You know, I give Jake Paul credit.
Jesus.
6 rounds. All those people that says if this doesn't get past the first round, it's a loss for Anthony Joshua. He did what he was supposed to do, but we also give a little due credit now to Jake Paul.
I'm still confused why he tried going for takedowns in a boxing fight. It's because he's a fraud. You know? The only reason that he's won his matches is either because A, they throwed, or B, they were old, or C, they were smaller than him. But Anthony Joshua didn't stand for that. He stood on fucking business. Bro was wearing Hulkamania clothes. He was begging for... Dude, the fact that he came in the yellow and red, and he got his ass beat by a black man is just chef's kiss. Every single punch here, every single like punch that like gets flushed on the jaw, I love it. I don't know what, dude, but also, you know, I imagine that he watches his brother in the WWE. But like the basic fact of the matter is that he's probably not trained in the same way as someone like Anthony Joshua. Here, I'm gonna turn off Dragon Roost Island. He doesn't have the same kind of, you know, training or conditioning as someone that actually fucking does this for sport and not just for
Both
the
Jake Paul and
sensational.
Andrew Tate got brutal beatings. It's a Christmas miracle.
Wait, did Andrew Tate get beat up too? I need to see that. Dude, I need to see that. The only thing I know Andrew Tate for is his disdain for Star Wars and the fact that he had like a trafficking ring.
Even though he wouldn't understand the job, drawl from 7 Deadly Sins.
It should be on Blue Sky at the very least. Hold on. Andrew Tate fight. Wait, was this also boxing? Dude, what are the chances? Are these like in 2 different promotions here? This is a full fight. Hold on, can I get like a goddamn shortened version of this?
Andrew Tate is not an alpha. The only true alpha is Alpha 5 from Power Rangers.
The only true alpha is those in Alpha Academy. Like Otis. Otis is an alpha. Tate was a kickboxer, right? Well, it doesn't look like that he showed very much kickboxing stuff in this. So this is... So like what promotion is this? Misfits Boxing. Okay. I want to see this.
Watch this. I'm the referee. I spoke to you both in the dressing room. I obey my command at all times. This is the title. You both know the rules.
Very nice of them to let him out of prison for him to do this.
Wait clean and remember to finish those all times.
Chad is a former... Dude, there's something former about him. He's always been alpha.
Event of the evening, 6 3-minute rounds for the Misfits Boxing Heavyweight World Championship. The challenge.
Okay, this is Misfits Boxing.
Take the throne from Chase to Moore. Nobody in this arena believes in the champion, but the only
Which, you know,
thing that matters.
kickboxing is a fighting discipline, but it's not boxing. So let's see here. How long does he last in this shit?
Stipulations around this one, Riley.
It's definitely going to be a huge factor here. Andrew Tate starting off early, good combinations, good jab to the body. A lot of speed.
Also, I didn't see your question, Zach. Sorry. Who's any fictional character run a detective agency with you as head detective? Who would you choose? Vector the Crocodile.
Tate, right hand, nearly connects on the chin of the champion. Moore trying to frame with the left.
Sometimes he knows what he's doing, but even if he doesn't, it'd still be fun. I trust him to have some fun.
Instead of a paw, he needs a claw.
I don't know, man. Hold on. I need, like, the highlights, okay? Highlights. I need the goddamn highlights from this shit. Alright. No. I do not need healthy gut support. My gut is fine, thanks. Why are you divorcing Vector and Espio? Well, they said... Listen, they said one character. So I had to choose between one or the other. Unfortunately, the husbands are gonna need some time to separate, you know? At the very least, we'll still have the lesbians in Tangle and Whisper. Dude, half of this is entrances. Hold on. Wait, is he entering to Mariah Carey? Dude, that's awesome. Dude, that's fucking awesome. Cool. No, I wanted to, like... Right, so he took him down. Right there. This is, like, really, like, shitty quality here. Fitting because it's the holiday season. It is Boxing Day. Right here. In the Long Boy Club. So it looks like that Tate can fight a little better than Logan Paul. This one's probably, like, less notable because it's a bit more of an even contest. There was an uppercut in particular that knocked him out, if I remember correctly. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna, like, skim through this. It's very cheeky of them to fucking, you know, use an actual screenshot when it's just, like, camcorder footage. Full video highlight. Real Andrew Tate.
He's trying to box. We talk about D'Amour's physical appearance, right?
No problems. 5 to go, but showing his experience in the range.
Dude, what the fuck? Okay, listen, chat. Tate is one of few kickboxing titles in legit promotions. Exclusive footage. Alright, well, like, listen, where the fuck is, like, the part where, like, he just gets knocked out? Because I want to see that.
All times, touch him up.
Trying to erase
If I could see that,
the grinding
then I will be happy, okay?
is suffocating. He has been all over him for round after round.
If I could see that, then I'll be happy with myself.
Nobody believes Demore but himself, and that's the only person's opinion who mattered. 2:30 on the clock. Demore jumps in again.
If I'm Andrew,
And he's just all over Tate here.
to him a little bit instead of just trying to fight him off the back leg. Put my hands up, watch him, and push him around, and push him back instead of letting
Every single time there's an impact, the video freezes.
The fatigue is built up. The pop is gone from his punches, and he eats a clean uppercut, and another, and another.
Tay might be done.
Yeah, he's just like eating these.
Challenger, the Cobra, just trying to survive here.
Looks in bad shape here, boys. Don't fall in. You got to taunt.
Kill him, please. Kill him.
Hands up, walk forward instead of just coming in with your hands down like that.
Kill him right now.
150 on the clock.
Found a video on Blue Sky. Send it over to me.
Tate struggling. There's a few shots from the Cobra.
Put your hands up and walk forward.
Send it. Send that shit, brother.
There's one shot, or vice versa.
Don't know if it's in this video, but we need to see, dude.
Put his hands up and counter him twice. Big, big. Demore
We gotta see. I need to see this dude getting flattened.
Somehow still here. Another shot from Demore.
And if Tate had his hands up, a lot of those shots wouldn't get
Nature needs to heal further.
slow down a little bit.
Sensitive DMs. Okay, got it. I'm getting this. Chat, we might have the sauce. Andrew Tate has been battered and comprehensively beaten by a novice boxer, Chase Demore. Yeah, spoilers for like later in this.
A shot like that.
Here.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
See, and, you know, Andrew Tate's
Dude,
and he wasn't
look at this. Oh!
too much weight. Beautiful shot by Chase around the Chase Demore, clearly dominating.
Dude,
A shot like
that is awful.
that. Absolutely.
Like that right there was a grazing shot, right? Well, actually, no. No, like, that's not even a grazing. That shit just connects. Look at that. It, like, connects, like, to his left cheek, right?
It's too easy to see, and you know, Andrew
He gets, like, another tap in there. But then this one, right? Like, let's get real close up on this shit.
fatigued,
He, like, clobbers the bottom of his chin.
and he wasn't able to get out of the
Bam! Wow! Man, nature really is healing, chat. When we got two notable assholes getting beaten up on, like, pay-per-view, I think? Or on live sports. That's when nature heals.
wasn't able to get out of the way.
Jesus, though. That one is crazy. But no, I didn't even know about this until Dan said it. All I knew was that there was a, all I knew about was the goddamn, Jake Paul stuff. But, like, all that got me thinking, too, because, like, you know, even though I don't know much about, Anthony Joshua, just seeing him beat the stuffing out of Jake Paul has made me a fan of his. Yeah, like, Paul left the fight with like, 2, like, breaks in his jaw. That's gonna take, like, at least a month to fully heal. And, like, that hasn't really happened in, like, any of the other fights. Primarily because, they were old. Or, like, you know, his opponents were, like, old. In the case of Mike Tyson. Or 2, they were smaller than him. Or 3, and I don't know how much confirmation there is with this, they threw for a payday. Which, I don't know, man. When you're stepping into the ring and you're getting your ass kicked so convincingly like this, a little bit hard to not just be like, oh, I gotta update my LinkedIn. I gotta start looking for work, dude. Oh wait, no I don't. I'm Jake Paul. I already have a bunch of money because because I saved it all up from when I was, you know, a kid's channel. Super Eye Patch will point out the ring as abnormally huge for a boxing ring. He thinks it was so Paul was just trying to and thinks it was so Paul was just gonna try dodging the punches and say he went 8 rounds with the pro. Well, he didn't. He went 6 rounds with the pro because the pro knocked him on his ass and he stood on business. Honestly, I'm now a fan of Anthony Joshua, so I want to check out more of him. And wouldn't you know it, we have Anthony Joshua's top 10 knockouts right here, just waiting for us. So why don't we check that out real fast before we get into Fight Forever? But first, let's see if an ad is creeping up, chat. I feel like it's our civic duty to further give this man his flowers. On this night, we will be haters. on this sacred night, we will all be hater. Oh my god. The fucking double ad gave us like twice the amount of like time before another ad starts. That's crazy. By the way, your eyes have been closed for a while. Oh, I know. I'm just very happy to see dickheads get what's theirs. You know? Alright, I'm not happy anymore. I'm only content. Let's see here. There we go. But I need to be paying attention for all of these incredible knockouts right here. Because again, we need to give this man his flowers. I want to know more about this guy.
Spare serotonin, please.
Ah, yes, thank you. Thank you. I need the mental cleanse so I can focus. And serotonin is what will do it. Thank you very much. Now then, let's check it out. This guy's got aura. Wow. Joshua versus... Jeez! He's incredibly aggressive, too. Like, he's on you. When you step in that ring, you're going up with someone who is just fucking on you. This fucking dude looks like a smaller Butterbean. That's Tito Ortiz! Fucking cuts to Mr. Anderson scratching his head. I thought Butterbean. Wait, what? No, he literally looks like Tito Ortiz. No. I'm saying he looks like Tito Ortiz, and it just cuts to just absolutely no one in the ring selling it, and Mr. Anderson scratching his head. Look at this. No, he looks like Butterbean. Jeez, he fucking got him there. Wow. Butterbean here's good. Versus Leg? Dude, imagine your last name is Leg. That's crazy. Look at this. Look at this shit. Oh, damn. He gets you. Like, even just from, like, watching this guy, I can tell he's, like, super aggressive. When you step in that ring, you are going up against someone that will stay on you for the whole match. Ooh! Dude, he was flat on them. He was flat on the mat.
He now has a perfect professional record consisting of...
That was flush on the jaw. Wow. He's also like cut as hell too. That right there is a man that never skips a day. All right. Ooh. Oh! Dude, with finesse. He, like, snuck that shit in there. Yeah, I would, dude, absolutely. I agree with you. I would be, dude, if I had a defense like that, and he got in there, like, look at this. The way he just stood there patiently waiting. Look at this. Like after the KO. I know. Aura. Wow. Like, look at this. Like, he created just a large enough opening, and then his head is no longer on this planet, man. That's insane. Yeah.
Hello, Mario.
Hello. Making dinner, but we're so back. Hi, Soul. Welcome to tonight's Long Play Club meeting. We're over here giving the man that kicked the shit out of Jake Paul today his flowers, Anthony Joshua. We're over here viewing his best knockouts. Joshua versus Breezale, I believe. It didn't even look like he was breathing heavy or he did anything taxing when he stood there. No! No! He, like, stood over you, you know? He, like, stands over you menacingly. Like, yeah, I just did that. Get up. But, like, you can't. You're right there, and it's just like, man, I don't even know what to do about this, man. Alright. Like, look at this. Jeez. Oh! Ooh! Dude, that is 3 consecutive shots right there. If you're not down after that, you are a god. Wow. Look at this. Look at this. Like, especially this. Like, look at this man's eye. Like, look at this man's eye. He's, like, already, like, halfway over to, like, Dream Street, right? But then that... Like, he gets so much coverage on his face just from these 3 shots. Right side, left side, and then square on the nose. Look at this. Look at his nose right here, right? Pretty normal. There's maybe a little bit of blood there. But then... Oh... He's gone. And dude, he's not even tired. He doesn't even look tired. This man is peak conditioning. That straight between the guard was pure video game. No, that right there was like literally like he finessed his way through his guard and got him square on the nose. I'd be down after that too. There is no shame in that. Wow. What technique? Did you play any of the fight nights? I played one briefly when I was younger, but I never played like them. I never played them seriously. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. You know, because we're over here watching fucking boxing. So why not? You know? We hear like some combat sports. So. Dude, and he gets back up after that too. He gets back up after that. What a machine. What a maneuver, as one would say. I beat round 2 and it still holds up. A new addition to the Giraverse. Yeah, we added boxers. It's funny because back in the day, before I was a VTuber, and Zach may be able to remember this, but when we played SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, I made both myself, Zach, and my friend Nelson in the game, and we each had our own, like, you know, specials. Rather, like, we each had our own speciality. And Zach was a boxer. I specifically made sure that all of his grappling moves, or at least most of them, did not involve any actual, like, suplexing or holds of any kind. It was like just various strikes, you know? To kind of simulate, you know, the idea of, oh, it's a boxer in a wrestling ring, you know? And I don't know what I gave Zach, but there was a point where my created character and Zach's created character were facing off at, like, I think Bad Blood in a last man standing match. And Zach, I had to have hit your guy with like 10 finishers on steel chairs because you just kept getting up. You just kept coming back. Like, you just kept on coming back. The CTE was pushing you through. And it's funny because after the match, after all of that punishment, they had to stretcher you out. Dude, Homunculus, do you think that 10 chair shots and 10 chair finishers is sexy? You just kept coming. You just kept coming, and you didn't stop. Even when I told you to stop, you just kept coming. And I kept the pressure up. I kept on pounding it. But you kept asking for more. Even us aces can't escape innuendo. Listen, I welcome the innuendos. Me being asexual means that my sex jokes are the funniest. You know? I may not have a lot of them, but when I do have them, they're the funniest. So there you go. But yeah, the point is, after the match, they had to take you out on a stretcher, and they were like, oh, well, his fucking career might be over. And I'm just like, you know what? After a match like that, I wouldn't blame him. because his brain and his neck are like a fine paste at this point, you know? They just turn to mush, you know? They just like turn to like absolute mush after that match. But it's fine because Zach was on Raw the next night. So take that for what you will. Take that for what you will. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was like a prototype of Gira. Maybe I should bring him back. Maybe I should bring the prototype of Gira back. He really is the straight shooter. Because, like, my created character in that game, Gira took a lot of inspiration from him. So maybe I should bring him back and form a tag team. I think that'd be fun. Anyways, let's see more Anthony Joshua worship. Jesus Christ. Dude, he just keeps taking punishment. Like, look at that. You can see the sweat being punched off of this man. Immediately, he's on him. Like, that defense game is real bad. Look at this. Look at this shit. Boom, boom, boom. Well earned. He doesn't even look sweaty. He just keeps going. He just keeps going, man. What aura? This is Joshua versus Pulev. All right. Dude, that was just like one shot. That was flush. That was one shot. One punch. And that's it. Wait, is that Michael Barker? That's insane. WCW man himself. Alright, this is Joshua versus Martin. Dude, that last one was like no effort. He was in and he dude, all of that like grandstanding and hot dogging, and he's already down. You're a little too late on the draw there, dude. Really, really, it was like, just like, you knew that he was like going in there. Like you knew that Martin was going in there, just like looking for something, right? He was like looking for like any kind of opening. But like, much like Mist.
Hello, Mario.
Much like Mist, he's invincible, you know? I'm fucking amazed that this dude hasn't dropped yet. Glitch! Glitch, hello there, my friend. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting. It's been a while since I've seen you. How you doing? I'm fucking amazed that this dude hasn't dropped yet. Who, like Martin right here? Like Martin right here. Like, you can fucking tell that he was just sitting here like, okay, man. Okay, man. I'm so like in that moment, Anthony radiated too much aura, you know? And he was just kind of sitting there being like, yeah. Get me to the pay window. Here. This right here is Adonis. Difference in like, you know, a lot of these guys, and it's that like Anthony is also like incredibly built too. Whereas like a lot of these guys, I'm sure that they have really good stamina, but they just can't get on this guy's level, you know? This man is completely just like, he is first one into the gym, last one out of the gym in the same day, you know? He's over there like slamming the pre-workout, slamming Nas, you know? I wonder how many are tomato cans. Good God, he's 6'6". Yeah, exactly. He's like tall, he's well built. Like this guy just looks imposing. But unfortunately, he is British. Alright, well that right there kind of like lowers him down a little bit for me. So. But listen. I'm not gonna say that to his face because I'm afraid of what he'll do. Like this guy doesn't have a shred of fat on him. So. Wonder how many are tomato cans. Is tomato cans a slang? Tomato cans. Slang? Here. Tomato can is slang, primarily in sports combat for a weak, unskilled, or easy opponent used by better fighters to pad their records. So basically jobbers. You know? I wouldn't be surprised that some of them are jobbers. You know? I mean, like, in my head, boxing has always been, like, a legitimate sport. So the idea of, like, you know, people being fed to better guys to make them look good feels a little strange to me. It's why there's so many undefeated boxers. Is it because they just keep, you know, being fed a bunch of jobbers? I will say that tomato cans is kind of an interesting name for, you know, jobbers in boxing, because tomato cans are, those are hard to break, you know? They're sealed, right? You gotta work to get the contents out of them. If I see a tomato can, I'm like, shit, I gotta go find the can opener. Fine. Anything for my chili. Anything for the Sonic chili, which I love probably more than most people. Especially with habaneros. That shit has me on the John all night. Alright. I will say that this match is more competitive than the other ones we've seen so far. They account for the use of the tomato can metaphor. Is a bad boxer has a tendency to leak tomato juice when battered. Oh, that makes sense. But it's funny because the majority of these guys that you could probably classify as tomato cans, they're like down in like a few hits, you know? Like Martin there. I keep going back to Martin because like there was so much time where they were sizing each other up, and all of that just to get knocked out in like 5 hits. Like that's insane. boxing is legit-ish, but promoters tend to be pretty scummy and do what they can to make their top guy look good. I mean, that's fair. It seems like a lot of combat sports in general is just really kind of shady. Much like VTubing, boxing is like pro wrestling. There's a lot of associations across the country, if I remember correctly. It's not like UFC or WWE, and where there's like a definitive like promotion. This guy right here is kind of taking it. Like he's like standing his ground here, but he's reeling a little bit. So he spent a lot of this fight on the ropes. He's doing a good job, like, dodging the offense. Jeez, but he got him. Dude, look at how... Dude, look at how far he falls. Like, look at how suddenly he falls. He's been, like, bobbing and weaving throughout this pretty okay. But then he sneaks in that hit right there. And he tumbles. And he falls like a sack of shit. Ooh! Like, he gets that one hit in, and suddenly he falls like a sack of shit. That's crazy. Here, we need to look at this frame by frame. Like, he makes a bit of distance, swings, right hook, to the jaw, to the chin, and then he falls like a sack of bricks. He's like up in the ropes and shit. Yeah. That one there was earned. I don't think that guy was a tomato can. Okay, we have a comparable guy here, it looks like. This guy's also built and he's also pretty tall. So... Shit, man. He's doing like the Lesnar hops. Ooh. Jeez. Ooh! Dude, he snuck in a good one there. Look at that. Look at this right here. I don't know, I'm a sucker for like these big uppercuts. Jesus. And he's still up after that. He's still going. How? Okay, okay, there you go. That right there was enough. Jeez. He kept like the pressure up though. Like that feels like a delayed reaction almost. Ooh, alright. I know, I'm a bit of a fan of Anthony Joshua now. That's what I mean by video game shit. That uppercut was pure haymaker stick. I know! Anthony Joshua, Jesus! Ah! He's still going! He's still up after that! Like, look at this. This right here is like full star meter. You're fucking like Little Mac and Punch Out, right? You hit this, he should be down, right? Like that right there was as clean as it comes. That right there is as clean as it comes. That is the poster shot, you know? You print that out, you sell it at the merch stand. Yes, yes, he became a smear frame is great. Dude, that's crazy. Yes, he became like a smear frame in real time. Look at this. He ate an unbelievable amount of shit with this uppercut. he like had his meter, like Anthony had his meter charged, and he unleashed that shit, and it still wasn't enough. This right here is Soda Popinski, but real. Jeez, and then another one. Actually, that might be the same one. But like he basically just kept the pressure up. You can tell that like this guy, like what's his name? What's his name? Oliver? Is that what it is? Let me see him. Klitschko. Like Klitschko was like, even after taking that, he was still like on his last legs, you know? At that point, you're running on pure adrenaline. You have adrenaline in your soul, every thought out of control. You know? You're like Cody Rhodes in this moment. This man doesn't know where he is right now, but his adrenaline just makes him stay up. But it's just too much. Anthony just stays on him until he falls. And that's crazy. Wow. Okay, yes. I'm now a fan of Anthony Joshua. Dude, we need to save this for next time, okay? We need to save this for next time and go down like a rabbit hole of this shit because, wow. Wow. Yes, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this guy now. But yeah, chat. I will say that even after all this, we are already an hour into this goddamn stream. But before we start playing the game, I need to... I love Fight Forever streams. LMAO. Well, listen, before we start playing the game, I want to do something for you guys that's special for the holidays, right? And it's fitting that I put on the cookie clicker music for this because... Do you remember this? This has been our white whale for so long, right? The Cheetos cookie. Homunculus, do you want this, man? Well, this was before you started watching Tom. That's like from one of my first streams ever. Well, listen, we're bringing it back. In celebration of the holidays, Homunculus, I'm gonna give you and the people what they want. And we're gonna try and get some.
Fucking goo.
Don't goo. It's pretty, Listen, no, you know what? You can goo if you want. I would goo too if I were you, because, I mean, like, listen to this description and tell me that you don't want to goo. There is something so strange, so surprisingly delicious about this cookie. It's cheesy, salty, sweet, made with lots and lots of Cheetos, and it just might turn your fingertips orange. Note, most people who come into our shop eye this cookie with a pretty even mix of disgust and fear. I try not to take it personally, and I sometimes even succeed. But when we offer up a sample, a portion of those naysayers are brave enough to try it, and we watch their eyes light up as the cookie hits their tongues. Oh my god, it tastes like a Cheeto, but it's sweet, and it's salty, and it's actually really, really good. Running a cookie shop isn't always as easy as you might think, but I'm not even kidding. Turning sneers into smiles as those former haters add a Cheetos cookie to their box kind of makes it all worth it. Now, from my understanding, this cookie shop delivers. And even though it is in Santa Monica, California, maybe it will ship over to the Midwest, to the Great Lakes region. Heading to bed. Good night, Stev. Good night, chat. Good night, Patch. Thank you very much for joining us here, if ever so briefly, for this stream. Thanks for watching our Anthony Joshua worship. But I think that we need to get this, and we need to try it on stream. Now, unfortunately, they're closed to new online orders until 2026. So, I think that what we need to do here is we need to, first of all, make sure that we can get this, right? Because the fact it's on their website tells me that it is. You know? We choose or you choose. No, 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 we're not picking the flavor. You are not picking the flavors for me. We have Cheetos? Oh, yes! Dude, let's fucking go! Let's go! Let's fucking go! We have 2! Dude, we're gonna have 2 of these, okay? One for me, one for the homunculus. Right? And cowboy cookies for Adam Page. Absolutely. Wait, is this Christmas Cowboy? It looks like Christmas Cowboy. And because I'm a chocolate chip nut, we need 4 of those. Cap'n Crunch is Christmas Crunch. What?
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Hey, it took us long enough. No, we're snoozing that. Chat, I need to see this. I need to see Cap'n Crunch. I gotta see the Cap'n Crunch one. Every cookie and bar we bake, it's a long list. 4th of July, Apple Jacks. What is Cap'n Crunch? Oh, that looks pretty good. Dude, that actually looks pretty good. I'd buy that. Dude, everything here looks so good. Applejack, Ponies mentioned. Okay, do I need to add an Applejack one? No, it doesn't look like that they have it. Okay, so like it seems like that they have like, you know, a rotating thing of cookies here. They don't have like all of the cookies all the time. Cap'n Crunch's Halloween Crunch. It looks like that they have a lot of Cap'n Crunch here. Creamsicle Crunch. Festival of Light Sugar Cookie. I like that. Damn it, now I'm in the mood for cookies. Well, it's funny you say that. Because while we're on the subject of cookies, I think that I need to show you guys something after this. I'm basically just gonna save this for like later on. I just want to get this shit reserved, you know? This candy cane one looks so good. I'm getting one. I'm getting one too. You know, just for you. You've picked too many. Impossible. Fine. I want them individually wrapped. They have to, like, deliver. Or, like, they have to, like, find a way to, like, deliver this shit. Cross-state. You know? You know what? For the Long Boy Club. I love you so much, guys. We've added... We're hibernating for the holidays, but we'll be back in January. They ship nation... Yes! Woo! Yes, dude! We're so back! Dude, we can do it. We can do it! Yes! 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 Okay, I don't want to dox myself here. So... Okay. Now, chat, here's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to leave this up, and during break, I'll order it, okay? And then when they come in, we're going to try them on stream. We're going to try all this on stream, okay? I'm actually really hyped for this. Actually, no, chat, hold on. Given how this is supposed to be for the Long Boy Club, I want your guys' opinion. Do you think that this is like a good selection here to be there for that stream? Please sync up with my work schedule for
I didn't quite get it. Could you flash your credit card number again?
No, I'm not flashing it for you. I know what you're gonna do with it, homunculus. you're gonna get like 10 boxes of these, and it's just gonna be the Cheetos cookies. I know that for a fucking fact. But no, we got 1 candy cane, 1 Cap'n Crunch's Christmas Crunch, 3 Cheetos, 3 chocolate chip. We'll do 1 Christmas Cowboy. Festival of Light Sugar Cookie, which I'd imagine is... For some reason, that startled me. What is Christmas Cowboy? Christmas Cowboy. What is in a cowboy cookie? Chicks and bunnies. That's probably like a Easter one. Christmas Cowboy. There's a lot of chocolate ones in here.
Let's eat cookies forever instead of fight forever.
Dude, if I could eat cookies forever, I would. No, it's my weakness. It's my weakness. 69
It's
cookie.
almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Chubby Hubby. Inspired by one of our favorite Ben & Jerry's flavors. Inspired by one of our favorite Ben & Jerry's flavors. This slightly malty cookie has chunks of pretzels and chocolate and a ribbon of peanut butter and is topped with a chocolate-covered pretzel. That sounds pretty good. Dude, I need to, like, tell them specifically to, like, bake this in the shape of the number 69. That's really good. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna run the ad now, real fast.
It's
Dude, did
break
I
time.
see a peanut
Where the
butter
heck's the
cup
Cheetos,
cookie?
my dudes?
No, I don't need that in my life chat. I'm gonna order, like, 10 of those, just for me.
Our next pick is Tomb Raider 3, starring the buxom Lara Croft. And this is what every woman should do who feels she must live up to the image perpetuated by the likes of Lara. The best feature of Tomb Raider 3 is not Lara herself.
Anytime
It's the
George Wood
outstanding
talks
level
about
design
Lara
of Heather
Croft,
Gibson.
I feel
And then
weird.
if you look along this side of the
Right?
outer, I've got a selection
You
of
keep
textures
showing
that I
us
can use on
things
this
that aren't
map.
fight for
You can
You
then
keep
go
showing
on
us
to
things that
apply the
other than
texture to
fight
these
forever,
areas.
lol.
It's just a matter of popping.
Listen, we'll get to it here soon. Just be patient, you know? Have some fucking patience.
Apply a light to the room, change the ambience of that room, change the range and the strength of the light to get that nice moody atmosphere that we've got on most of the levels. And I can actually have a look at this room now if I go into preview and fly around and see how it looks. And also we can trigger all the baddies within
All the
this system.
baddies.
So that means that when we place our dogs or cult members within this particular map, I can say that I wanted that dog to attack Lara at a specific point, so I can select the dog and trigger it so that when Lara crosses
What's baking now
this
shows the
trigger
current
point here,
cookies.
the dog
Okay.
becomes activated.
They call it
Allows
chubby
the player to
hubby
run across the
because
trigger
when you
and
get
back
into
onto a
bed
different
when you're
area of the map.
because when
I
you
have
get
a
into
sense
bed
that
with your
something
chubby
different's
hubby, you
happening
69.
because the baddies are still coming through, but they might come through it from a different area. So it always gives you the feeling.
Dude, what the
that
heck
they're
is,
actually
dude? This
quite clever that they're working.
this is a
out
monstrous
how
cookie
to get
here.
to you.
By the way, did you ever wonder what Lara looked like without her clothes on? That's
What's baking now?
Gotcha.
Got it.
The old wire mesh trick.
Oh damn, the old wire mesh trick. Wow.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. What is lump of coal? Dude, that looks like the Japanese exclusive Whopper. Have you ever seen that? Chad, have you ever seen like the Japanese exclusive Whopper? That's like a black bun. This shit, hold on. Japanese Whopper. Hopefully we had it in America too, did we?
Don't you mean welcome back to Collision?
Think about that for a second. Sorry, I was thinking about it, but then I got distracted by the fact that there's black cheese on this hamburger. What? Nah, Dynamite. was just the all-black Whopper. Alright, how about this? Black Whopper. It was the Halloween Whopper. It was like A1 steak sauce, it looks like. But like over in Japan, they had one that was no seeds. It was black bun and black cheese. They took it out of stores because it made people's poop look weird. And that stopped them from releasing stuff in the past? There's a Spider-Man Whopper. There's a SpongeBob Whopper out there right now. If I get up and the stuff that comes out of my ass isn't yellow, I'm actually going to be relieved, because then that will mean there aren't as many preservatives. Why is my poop rectangular? When they said I can have it my way, I didn't think they also meant my poop. Lump of coal does look tasty, though. What is lump of coal? You're definitely going to want to be on Santa's naughty list this year. Black cocoa is the secret ingredient in this insanely dark chocolate cookie that's stuffed with Oreo chunks and dark chocolate chips and gets... Oh, okay, you sold me. Dude, I'm getting lump of coal. Black cheese! And Europeans freak out about Kraft singles. Plus good stream shit. Oh yeah, I'm shitting good on stream chat. Let's see. That's pretty good. Festival of Light sugar cookie. That's a lot of sprinkles. Christmas cowboy looks really good. What is a cowboy cookie though? This mix of oats, toasted pecan, sweetened coconut, Heath bar bits, M&Ms, and sea salt is so good. There's a slight chance Santa will forget about leaving the presents and head straight for the plate of cookies shouting, "Yippee-ki, ho ho ho." American cheese, the best melting cheese, unfortunately. It's filled with preservatives, but it does make for a mean grilled cheese, you're right. Chat, what is this monstrosity here? This right here looks like the cookie you make with, like, Parmesan. Hold on. Our best seller. This is a best seller? Hold on. Chocolate chips, dark chocolate chunks, caramel pretzels, and a drizzling of crunchy pretzel salt. It's a salty, sweet, chewy, crunchy, and just plain awesome cookie. Listen, you had me until pretzel. Are you trying to give me a heart attack? Positive. Listen, you had me until pretzel, right? I don't like pretzels. I just don't like their taste. You know? They've always tasted like really funky to me. Everyone looks at me weird for that. Everyone around me likes pretzels, but like with the frosted sugar cookies from Walmart, I'm taking a stand and saying that pretzels are mid. Alright? They can go where the Walmart sugar cookies go. Into the bin. I'm sorry, chat. I've only liked the rolled gold cheddar pretzel since I was a kid. I don't even know how to, like, describe their flavor profile. I don't like it. Pretzels are a much crazier hill to die on, in my opinion, and this comes from a picky eater, LMAO. Listen. I'm here to stand on fucking business. Alright? I'm here to stand on business and tell you that we're getting Cheetos. Okay, how about this, chat? Just for you. I'm taking out one of the chocolate chips and I'm putting it into caramel pretzel chocolate chunk. Okay? Maybe this will get me to change my mind. Alright? No. No, don't get anything you don't want to eat, LOL. No, listen. Listen, I'm approaching my disdain for, like, everything on the menu. We want one of everything, like everything on the menu with Braun Strowman. We carry you, Strimmer. Listen, You didn't let me finish. I am attacking pretzels from the perspective of someone that hasn't had them in a few years. Maybe my tastes have changed, you know? Because I will admit, even if I don't like the pretzel, I could just take it off, you know? Everything else about this I like. Chocolate chips, dark chocolate chunks, caramel, and a sprinkling of crunchy pretzel salt. You know? Like, salt, right? Who doesn't like salt? Everyone likes salt. Just ask the man in the desert. He loves it, you know? Just ask the man that you found in the Sahara that, funnily enough, has no more skin. He loves salt, you know? So I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one, just for you. I kind of want to get, like, an assortment here. I feel like 2 Cheetos cookies is enough, right? I feel like that's enough. What is Holly Jolly Cookie? Let's see here. Holly Jolly. There it is. We've gotten our birthday cake cookie. One to eat, and it'll be in the GirafaStev Museum. Yes. Mistletoe, holly berries. Oh, with a mix of, like, decorates. So basically it has, like... So basically it's birthday cake, but with, you know, some, like, holiday sprinkles in there. That sounds good. Lump of coal is, like, crazy, though. Right here is the Spider-Man Whopper cookie. Even our red velvet cookie gets a holiday upgrade. We switched out the white chocolate for super creamy milk chocolate chunks and then dip the whole thing in red sugar before baking to give this cookie a sparkle so bright it might just be able to guide a sleigh on a cloudy night. Chat, that does look good, doesn't it? Oh, damn. Jelly donut really just be a jelly donut. Let's check it out. A fluffy, slightly malty cookie filled with a raspberry jam and a heavy dusting. Dude, that literally does just look like a jelly donut. I'm getting Rudolph's red nose. Bam. We got 12 right there. That's it, chat. I'm bookmarking this. It will be our cookie. Our cookie assortment for the next year. No one's ever eaten a whole dang assortment! Jelly donuts, my favorite. Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut. Much like a cool, refreshing sip of water, nothing beats a jelly-filled donut. But yeah, this right here, I think we're gonna have this shipped over. And we're just gonna spend a whole refreshing sip of water. Thank you. I think it would be fun to spend a whole pre-stream just like eating cookies together. You know? From this cookie shop at Santa Monica. If Santa Monica was anywhere near BabsCon this year... Dude, I just think that would be fun. I think that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. I will leave this open. Oh, hey, nationwide shipping. It takes 1 day to process orders, so tomorrow's date will not be available on the delivery calendar. If you need cookies to ship out today, please give us a call. We do not ship over the weekend. Sorry, no Monday deliveries for shipping orders. Please double check the shipping address and make sure to include apartment numbers if needed. Cookie Good is not responsible for any delays in shipping and unfortunately cannot issue refunds because of shipping delays. Well, you know, that's just fine. Be like Cookie Monster over here. Dude, listen, I'm a real life Cookie Monster. If you put like cookies in front of me, that shit's gonna be gone. You know? It will literally, like, I'll literally be like that one episode of like Billy and Mandy, where like
Jib
Billy
cookie.
becomes
Jib
chocolate.
to me. The cookie.
Put the cookie down, homunculus. They're not here yet. Local hand delivery. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to drive all the way from Santa Monica to the Great Lakes region. So we're just going to leave this open for now, and we'll come back to it later. But speaking of cookies, chat, for no particular reason at all, I decided to go on Cool Math Games a little bit ago, like earlier this week. And I was thinking to myself, you know, it's been a while since I've been on here. This right here is like peak like computer lab gaming, right? That won't be gone from you because the site with the best version of Fight Forever. Listen, it also has the best version of Cookie Clicker. See, it wasn't totally irrelevant. This has like probably like the most basic and yet the most free version of Cookie Clicker, because I'm pretty sure that the Steam version of Cookie Clicker costs like $5. If that's here, let's check. Cookie Clicker. Let's check it. It's probably free on their website. Oh hey, it's available for free on the web. Okay, it's on deep discount right now, $245 or $249. AEW Cookie Clicker Forever. The web version is free, yeah. But listen, I was floored over the fact that this site houses the web browser version of Cookie Clicker. I was shocked that it actually housed it. And it kind of made me think, you know, it's been a while since we've touched Cookie Clicker on this stream. Literally, like, the last time I played it, like, just at all, was probably the last time we streamed it, right? Like, that's how long it's been. AEW Cookie Clicker Forever. Listen. Now that's ball. Unlock something. What does that unlock? A festive tube and wait, what? Retire? Wait. Huh? Festive test tube. Retire 4 cookies. Found a present, which contains Santa's bottomless bag? What is that? Cookie Clicker is all elite. Oh yeah, there's seasonal invested Cookie Clicker. It costs a tism hole, but you have to have the right tism for it. Particularly the tism that convinces you to pay attention to the cookie stock market. You know? Which, like, fortunately, I do have that kind of tism. Because when I'm playing, you know, the actual, like, Steam version of Cookie Clicker, that's how I get most of my cookies. I buy and trade on the stock market. You know? To this day, I'm holding all of my stock in nuts. The nuts are gonna have to drop at some point, chat. Actually, no, they're gonna have to rise. And when they do, I'm selling high. Alright? I'm selling high before they drop again. At which point, I'll buy them in bulk again, and the whole thing will keep going. It'll be an endless nut extravaganza. The nuts are gonna have to drop, chat. Gira. Gira did say that in a promo once. Yeah. Speaking of Gira, he's in Fight Forever. We should probably play that at some point, right? Hold on. We're actually gonna do that right now. Why not? It's an hour and a half in, and we're finally getting into the game. You know? We're gonna get into the game now. Cookie Clicker kind of better than Fight Forever, joking. But we'll see about that. Because we have a lot to do in this game, you know? We did do a warm-up match here. And I think that we need to do another one just to make sure that, you know, all of our ducks are in a row, right? Just so I remember how to play this game. Actually, I did see a training mode. Maybe that will kind of, you know, help me come to grips with it. Where is Adam Page? Where's Adam Page? Shit, hold on. Oh wait, hold on. You know, speaking of pizza, whip on up John Blood for streamer supremacy. I don't know, man. I feel like Tony Pizza Guy is a future star in the making. Very, very ironic that he has a Chicago dog on his shirt there. Speaking of pizza, I'm going to Chicago here in about a week with my good friend Patchwork Queer to see AEW World's End. We're going to be there live and in person. We're going to make signs and stuff. We'll take photos of them in the Discord. And, you know, you guys can try and spot us out if you want while the show is going on with the signs we have. By the way, I have a Discord. Come on over there. We have a lot of fun over there. It's a fun little community of games, wrestling, various other hyperfixations and tisms that I have. Right now, I'm kind of starting to get into, funnily enough, boxing now with this fucking stream, because now I'm gonna be looking into not just Anthony Joshua, but some of the guys that we saw in that video. As a note though, every week we do community events, and tomorrow is one of them. We're gonna be watching Christmas specials, and one of the Christmas specials that we're gonna watch is a pretty infamous one. And I'll just go ahead and, you know, drop it here. Have any of you ever heard of this? Have any of you heard of Rhapsody Street Kids Believe in Santa? Because this special is pretty goddamn infamous.
Can we binge watch the Miracle on 34th Street fights?
Is Rhapsody Street Kids one of those fights? Because, well, we're gonna have to get into that tomorrow night, because we have at least 3 Christmas specials to screen. One of them is this one right here. Rhapsody Street Kids Believe in Santa. It's pretty infamous in certain online circles, primarily for the fact that it aired once, I believe, and then it never aired again. And also the grandmother character in this is completely incomprehensible. Like, ending scene. Like, you guys probably have seen, like, the ending scene to this, right? Hold on. I'm just gonna, like, drop it here real fast. No. We're not gonna pop the cherry that quickly, okay? It's this shit. Please let this be it. Yes, this shit.
That makes 2 of us.
Great grandma, you always know just what to say. Hey!
Oh.
Grandma,
you always know just what to say.
Christmas.
Dude, like literally all of her dialogue is like that. It's fucking amazing. It's incredible. And we're going to be watching all of it tomorrow night in the Discord server. Come and join us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Can we watch the Miracle on 34th Street fight? This feels like something, sounds like everyone where I'm from. This feels like something made in 3D Movie Maker from 95. Hell, it looks, but it doesn't run. Because a lot of old, like, 3D Movie Maker stuff runs in, like, 4 frames per second. You know? When I think of like old 3D movie maker stuff, I think of like, hold on, have you ever seen this? Joel Vine Sauce 3D movie maker. Have you ever seen like Joel Vine Sauce's 3D movie maker shit? The blue shell incident. What the fuck was that ad? Did you see that? I did not get a good look at that. Editor, please go back. I need to see what the hell like the pelvis region was showing off there. What was that ad? It showed up for like a quick second and then it was gone. Red Bull sure does stuff. It was Red Bull. Dude, is Red Bull like trying to get in my pants or something? What is happening? It took over a year to make. 60 hours and a lot of streams. Have any of you ever seen this?
Just spaghetti on the rocks.
There's a particular part with Sans.
Hey, little bro. Or should I say, Green Mario?
Dude, he's so long. He's so long.
I thought you died in Zanzibar. Ah, but that's where you're wrong, bro. You see, Blue Shell incident was just a cover-up.
Location, Zanzibar Island.
Chad, I feel like we need to make one of these. What? Hold on again. Fucking like Ancient Toad cameo over here. I'm the same way.
Nice meatballs, Luigi! This is Lasagna Ocelot, over. Commencing Operation Blue Shell Kill.
And the wood pipe was inside Bowser's ass all along, Luigi! Hey, do you smell lasagna? Hey, Luigi! I was talking here!
Well, Luigi, all I gotta say is pasta la vista.
This lasagna doesn't smell Italian! Well, all I gotta say, Luigi, you go to hell before you die!
Please.
Die?
Okay, that was pretty cold though.
Mamma mia!
Dude, why are they both in space? That right there's a
Today just had to be a Monday, huh?
I can't believe Mario's fucking dead, chat. I'm gonna find the fucking Sans part and then I'm gonna get back to what I was saying before. Oh, here it is. It's got fucking Larry Cucumber here too.
Hey man, you got the stuff right? Yeah, I got a ton. A skeleton.
Cool.
Damn, he was my only customer.
Accurate Sans dialogue. You know, aside from the Grim Reaper gutters thing. Dude, we got 190 cookies in the time it took us, in the time it took me to fucking waste your time with that. Wow. What are, like, the restrictions on this version? Like, are there any, or is it just like the full game but free now? It can't be the full game, right? Random drops are more common. Milk is 5% more powerful. That's right, we do have some milk down there, don't we? No, I was thinking about pizza, right? And you know what Cool Math also has? The Papa's games. Dude, listen. If you did not play these in the computer lab, I don't know you. Alright? I don't fucking know you. If you didn't, like, play this and hide it from the teacher, if you didn't play Papa's Pizzeria and hide it from the goddamn, like, computer lab teacher, I don't know. I don't know you. Alright? Because I played this shit all the time when I was a kid. Wait, is it full screen? Play big screen now. Dude, absolutely. Dude, look at this, like, lack of ad. Wow. Ad block is coming in clutch.
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Okay, fine. Fine, I'm gonna play in big screen now. No way! Dude, that's sick. That is the sickest shit ever. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fucking run the ad here.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
We're all rolls on after this. Have you seen Grand Theft Auto Nick City? I've not. What is that? Hold on, I'm gonna mute this real fast. I'm gonna mute this real quick because I need to see this now. Hold on. GTA Nick City? Wait, hold on. Huh? Nickelodeon City. Grand Theft Auto Nickelodeon City. I need to wait until the ad's over because I need to see if this is it. If it is, then then we might have struck gold here. Hold on. And this shit is almost 20 years old? My goodness gracious. Time might rolls on after this picture-in-picture. For fucking sure, man. Hold on. Hopefully I don't get claimed for this. Otherwise, I'll just mute it. It's fine. Otherwise, I'll just mute it on the VOD. It's okay.
Nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hey, welcome back to Raw. Alright. Tom, is this what you were talking about? Party Toast Productions. What is this? Grand Theft Auto Nickelodeon City. Oh, wow.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker. What are you doing sitting on your ass all day?
What? Dude, that's awesome. Hold on. This right here feels like a copy pasta. This feels like something that you post under, like, someone else's post in response.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker.
It just starts with that. It starts with the most uncharacteristic Stimpy of all time.
What are you doing sitting on your ass all day and doing nothing? What, are you smoking crack or something? Yes, Simpson J. Katz. My life is miserable because I lost my job and my career, everything. I'm bankrupt and I don't know what the fuck to do.
You stupid motherfucker. Quit doing drugs and shit. Go around town, look for a job. And don't be a criminal. Yeah, Mr. Smarty Pants, we need to do crimes to get our jobs back. Okay? Let's do them.
He just goes along with it? I love this. Wait, is this like... Hold on.
Give me that fucking vehicle.
Oh, hey, okay, you cannot... Okay, can't play that, can't play that.
Dude, this music sucks.
That is very copyrighted. Alright, whatever.
Dude, this
It is compressed enough to where they probably won't detect it.
music sucks. Let's change the radio station.
Oh, this is very copyrighted, wow.
Good old danceable music. Okay, so let's go to Rocco's house. Let's see what he has to say about these problems. Maybe he'll help us.
I love how everyone has the same voice.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We got a 1042. We gotta report this immediately. Get an ambulance over here, now.
Dude, who just got killed? What? Who just got killed there?
Why, hello, Rocco. We got some problems.
Does he have the same voice?
You see, my friend Ren lost his job.
I'm sorry to hear that, Stimpy. Last year they canceled my show, and I am bankrupt too. And I'm like a loser now these days.
Well, there's a casino in town. Let's go there and rob it.
They would... Dude, Soul, that's a deep cut reference. Edge has the Twisty Rockets.
We are sick of legalized gambling.
Yeah, no fucking shit. My producer spent all of his $1 million on gambling too, and he hasn't even paid me a dime.
Well, I have a monster gang from the cell Real Monsters. There's the producer gambled on them too.
Those millionaire son of a bitches! Whoever's doing this, I'm gonna fucking kill them!
Okay, let's go rob the casino. But first, we gotta pay my monsters a visit. Let's go now.
Now? Okay, that's that to say. Did he, like, just clip through the car there? I'll rip the dog.
Okay, here's the monsters' hideout. Let's go talk to those monsters. And wow, they got a pimped out ride! I like it.
We don't mention it again.
I feel sorry for your producers spending money on gambling, so I'm planning something. So what are you planning? Are you planning revenge against your foes? Because we're a strong gang and we can scare the shit out of people, because we're monsters. Well, we're robbing the casino, because they've been sucking the life out of Nickelodeon City. We want revenge against those fuckers.
Dude. I'm sorry, but nothing is gonna top that opening. Nothing will beat the fucking opening of this, though. This feels super copyrighted. Wow. Nick Casino. I'm pretty sure we saw this asset in Joel's shit too.
Nobody move a muscle before I fucking kill you! And shoot your blood out!
And shoot your blood out? Wow.
And shoot your blood out! You guys stay
He'll take the blood and he will shoot it.
Society has wronged us with this casino. We're taking revenge.
This is how they do it, huh? I love how, like, Stimpy didn't even, like, protest. He's like, get a job. And Ren's like, no, let's rob the bank. And Stimpy's in that shit. He's, like, into that shit big style. Wait, how did he unlock that? Oh, he like, did, like, big shocked eyes. Dude, he, like, laid an explosive on it?
Put it right there!
Jeez.
Yo, man, it's cool. Just put that gun away. I'm not here to cause any trouble. Just shut up! I already found out the truth. You are friends with Ren and Stimpy, aren't you? Aren't you?
Well.
Hey, how's everything going down there?
We're doing good. Now let's get out of here before...
I would absolutely make something like this if I was 10 years old, I'll be honest with you. Like, this is the quality of storytelling and writing that I would have when I was 10. It's very comforting in a way. These models are a lot more, like, bouncy than I would think they are, right? Mission passed. And that's it. Thank you, Carl Daisy. I appreciate that. A Clinton Moore and Carl Daisy, huh? So wait, these guys voiced 3 characters in this? Officer Wiggum? Nickelodeon Jingle and MIDI. Oh yeah, that shit's gonna get cleaned as fuck. Wow. Thank you, Tom Street, for fucking, Also, I think we found a new sound redeem. Hold on just a second. Or rather, I think we found a new, like, video redeem to spam. This shit right here.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker.
It just starts completely just shameless. I love this.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker.
We still need Santino singing too. Did I not add that? I'm pretty sure I added that. It's Sound Santino Celebration.
What are you...
With or without the Nickelodeon jingle. Dude, it's gotta be with
oh, it. Oh,
Dude, it's like he's in the room with me. No, like, we need to include the Nickelodeon jingle. We need, like, this opening bit, because it's like a joke, right? It sets you up, and then it's just like, no, this is not normal.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker.
He's not here, is he? How do I get this fucking thing off? How do I get this fucking thing off? Super Brawl Saturday? I don't know, I'm sorry, I know I'm harping on this, but the fact it just, like, starts, like, really slow and unassuming, and then it's just... then it's just...
Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker.
Why? He's like out here, he's like fucking getting his ass, and yet the moment that Ren is like, let's go rob a bank or like a casino or whatever, Sippy's just like on board. Again, it's the quality of writing that I would have if I was like 9 or 10 years
Hello,
old.
Mario.
Can you afford to pay me to wrestle, Ron? I don't know. Your shirts are too tight, Billy. It will never not be funny. That promo will never not be funny. I don't know what it's called. What is it called? Super Brawl Saturday. Super Brawl Saturday? Just like the way he says it is so funny to me. I absolutely just love it. Anyways, before we play Papa's Pizzeria, I'm gonna go ahead and take another break here, chat. But it should be, a pretty long time before our next ad. So
It's
hopefully,
break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Hopefully, we'll be all good. I love Fight Forever Streets. LOL. What do you like about them most, Soul? Think about that while I'm on my piss break.
We have 3 genres left: racing, sports, and puzzle. We go through each list of games, comment briefly on each title, and you have to guess which title is our favorite from that list. Full reviews are available on our website. Ready, set, go. Racing, R4 Ridge Racer. New and easier cornering controls, plus nice graphics. Star Wars, Episode 1 Racer. Doesn't quite feel like 600 miles per hour as advertised. Micro Machines 64 Turbo. Steering is weird, graphics too simple. Penny Racers. Mario Kart for kids. User-friendly create-a-track mode. Extreme G2. Awesome graphics, lighting effects, and course designs. Roll Cage. Awesome lighting effects, but often very frustrating. Formula 1 98. This game might as well be Newman Haas Racing, The Return. And lastly, Chocobo Racing. Mario Kart for kids, but much better than Penny Racers. And the top game is, surprise, surprise, Extreme G2.
Chat,
Om
I'm
nom
gonna be
nom.
honest
Oh,
with you.
excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Hi, welcome back to Raw. Chat, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not over cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker. I'm not over it. I don't think I will be over it for the rest of this fucking stream. God damn it. Why is John Cena in your chair? Well, you see, now that he is done with wrestling, he needs another avenue for revenue, you know? Money's not going to make itself. It's not like he can go star in Barbie, you know? New vocal stem unlocked. Literally, it's a new vocal stem. I don't know what you've done to me, but you've done it. I don't know how you've done it, but I know you've done it. Anyways, Pizzeria. Why don't we do that? Oh, it's so nostalgic, chat. Again, this right here is computer lab core. You know? They let you get on Cool Math under the pretense that you're gonna play like some of the actually educational games. But what actually ends up happening is you play this. You know? Time for another adventure. Run the pizzeria while I'm gone. Ad skip? We gotta play this with ads? Okay, well, you know what? That's fine. That makes sense. I'm willing to trade that. I think that's a fair stipulation. I like how smooth the character models look, but how, like, crispy the actual, like, UI is. Welcome, Roy. Order station. Take orders from customers here. My station. Cool Math was when the school firewall bypass sites didn't work. I feel like they always didn't work for Cool Math, though. Baking station. Cook up to 4 pizzas at once in the oven. Cutting station. Cut pieces and get to the customers. That's really all it is, huh? Alright, cool. I'm gonna go with everything on the menu. Please. Dude. You only want half a pepperoni pizza? Okay, fine. Oh wait, hold on. We gotta try the ticket. Let's make the pizza. Every side needs 4 pepperoni. Dude, you can order how many pepperonis you want on each side in this place?
So my pizza is cold, can I get another one?
Listen, my name is Roy, okay? My boss has left me here to run the pizza place with little training and next to no supervision. I need you to be patient with me, okay? Do you guys not have ovens? Okay, good. I can take it out. You guys have ovens at home, right? Come on now. Dude, those are big slices.
While I'm here, can I get a Cheetos cookie?
Absolutely, brother. You're just gonna need to wait until after the holidays, because apparently they're not doing delivery. Oh, they wanted... Oh, I misread that. They wanted 4 pepperoni slices across the entirety of the pizza. Got it. Rather, across the entirety of, like, the pizza sides. Got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Just have to troll the customers instead. Listen, you're getting more pepperoni, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you not oven the hot food? No. They call it oven because you oven the cold food out hot, eat the food. Chat, I shit you not, there is an account on Blue Sky, right? It's literally just like a bot account that like takes that memed like Garfield panel that has John being like, why do they call it oven? And they just like replace certain words in it with various other things, right? Like when... Like, the template is, why do they call it X when you Y and then Z, right? And they have been, like, doing things that are like, why do they call it undulated giraffe? So on and so forth. They've just been doing, like, ones that are, like, giraffe thing. Or, like, they've just been doing ones that are, like, giraffe themed. Like, why do they call it unreticulated giraffe? Or why do they call it angry giraffe? And I retweeted one of those posts. Well, I reskeeted one of those posts. And I said, I hope that they never stop doing this. And they responded. They were like, why do they call it GirafaStev when you so and so and so? And the moment I saw that, I was just like, fuck, dude, I need to retire. I need to retire now. I'm never gonna get any better than this. This right here is my peak. Being fucking acknowledged by a Blue Sky gimmick account is my peak. It's never gonna get any better than this. I need to like hang it up. I need to do one more stream and then just fucking hang it up. Finally get off the internet and go get a real job. You know? Be like Roy over here. Go and get a real job. Alright. Let's go and fucking get it, dude. Dude, we got anchovies here? Alright, well, I don't like this place anymore. I don't really like this place all that much anymore. Into the oven you go. Alright, do I have any other customers up here? I do not. Cool. Damn, I see how my acknowledgement went SMH my head. I see how my acknowledgement went. We kept anchovies in the pizza place I worked at, but we only use them maybe once a quarter. Because your customer's new ball, you know? Alright, they want mushrooms. We gotcha. I'm going to take this over to the cutting station. And then... Hold on. Make the pizza. We have 6 mushrooms we need to put on this. Aside from anchovies, mushrooms have got to be like at the bottom of the totem pole, right? Alright, we have... They want that pizza well done. Hold on. We gotta cut it 4 ways. Got it. Perfect triangles. Come on. Yeah, baby. Now that right there is almost a pizza. They feel even grosser than they taste or smell. I'd imagine. It doesn't sound all that great, you know? Alright, let's go ahead. Check on that. Oh, I can do that. Hold on. He wants 6 olives? Bam. 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 Into the oven you go. It's whole slimy fish. I don't know, are they better or worse than mushrooms? Because when I think about mushrooms, I think of just, like, absolutely not. You know? Like, we are not... Like, that is not ball. You know? That's not ball. Okay, let's see. There you go. There you go, there you go, there you go. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this over there. We're gonna go ahead and do this. Pepper. Pepino.
Hello, Mario.
Who's there? I play games sometimes. Why do they call it Fight Forever when when Oven the wrestling game about pizza play the game? Alright, can I save this one for... Ah, shit. Wait. Hold on. Where is the other pizza? Oh, wait. It's waiting for me. It's fine. It's okay. Come on. Yeah, baby. Worse for sure. No AEW? Well, listen. Fuck. Okay, whatever. Alright, well, this time it's just a little more done, you know? Other than that, the pizza is good to go. You know? Other than that, the pizza's good to go. No, we'll fucking get to AEW, alright? But I need to show you guys this part of my childhood first, and then we'll get to it, alright? I saw Tony Pizza Guy in the game, and it just sparked something in me. Yeah, cool. Good enough. Yay, cool. Tips? Dude. These are like free pizzas that we're getting them, it looks like. Big Paulie. It's safe to say he's the biggest and the largest. Have you seen
Pizza,
the deluxe version?
pasta, put it in a box, bring it here and put it on my jock, the tortellini on my weenie, pepperoni on the walls, cheesy on my peony and some sauce on my balls.
You said it, brother. See, the homunculus knows ball. You know? Why do they call it Fight Forever when you oven the wrestling game of Out Pizza play the game? Alright, they want sausage on one half, onions on the other. Got it. Got it. Boom. 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 Into the oven you go. Let's see if there's anyone here. Put on my customer service hat. We're locking in, chat. Man, you're back already? Wow. There you go. Tortellini on my weenie. Dang. Okay. He wants all anchovies again? I don't like this guy, chat. Soul, what do you make of him? Oh boy, okay. Big baller. Wally? Yeah, Wally, the old man.
Oh my god!
Is that what you think of him? That's some freak shit type shit. You're just over here stroking that shit. Hold on. Let's start this pizza here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 into the oven you go. And the sardine one, or rather the anchovy one, sorry. Here we go. Boom. They also have a deluxe version of Freezeria. They do! I saw that. I would really like to play that one at some point. Alright, let's check on this guy. He's ready.
Megan Fox's toy chica makes my salami extend.
Those are certainly some words you just said, homunculus. Wow. You just said a bunch of words there, didn't you? Alright. Anyways, this one needs to be cut. Boom. 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 It can never be a perfect cut, dude. Dang. Okay, but they like it. That's what matters. I keep getting 100% on these guys. Let's see. I want to start, like... I want to start these guys right here. Boom. Boom. Into the oven you go. Let's see here. This guy wants olives again. I'm starting to think that, like, everyone here just wants, like, the same thing every time they come in. Big slices. I'll tell you what, these guys are actually pretty patient. Let's see here. Boom. 3 ways, got it. And Louis needs to give me a raise, brother. 'Cause this shit is... We got this shit on lock. Right here. That's almost completely perfect, brother. I'm seeing these stats. That is almost completely perfect. Lore in these games wild into. Is there lore? That is insanity. I need to learn about the goddamn Papa lore, don't I? Oh, fresh Mickey Mouse. I just remembered SMG4's final episode premieres next Saturday. Hopefully you enjoy it, my man. Hopefully you enjoy it. Is this the pepperoni cheesecake that Super Mario Bros. Super Show Mario was talking about? It needs to be distributed evenly. I have enough knowledge from my time in a barbecue restaurant to know exactly what needs to be done here. Because I used to work in a barbecue place, chat. They gave us free meals every day. The boss there was really good. Highly recommend him. Let's see here. Let's see. I can get this one in the oven real quick. Just gotta be quick with the toppings here. Boom. 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 In the oven. Just in time. I believe so, right? Yep. That shit is ready to go. Yeah, they want this, like, cut certain ways, too. They, like, not even just, 3 ways, like, you know, 3, like, perfect triangles. They want one of them, like, slightly off-center. How's this guy coming along? Oh, I can do this. Boom. 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 You know it's all about the... Only a criminal would cut a pizza that way. Well, listen. You don't know Louis' deal, right? He's fucking Louis. You don't know what his shit's about. He was, like, left with the shop, and now suddenly he's, like, expected to know everything. Alright, cool. You're ready. I need to, like, look up the Papa lore now, I guess, because if it's as crazy as you say it is, then that is going to be something that I need to, like, dive into and right quick. Let's see here. Boom. Boom. This game has to have, like, some kind of, like, ending, too, right, chat? Because, like, funnily enough, I never actually, like, completed this game when I was younger. I would always, like, play the first, like, few days, get kind of overwhelmed, and then I would not play it again. Rather, like, and then I would just, like, restart it, you know? This was before my strategy game, like, itch was, like, fully set in by games like XCOM, right? Well, strategy. It's not really a strategy game, it's more like a management sort of thing. But, you know, you also need to, like, manage, like, your resources, like time and stuff. On Twitch is... Wow, the only streamer playing Fight Forever on Twitch isn't even playing it. Dude, a Fight Forever stream, but the game isn't even in it. Listen, man, I know what I like. I like wrestling, but I also like pizza. Particularly if they're both combined. So if anything, it's the best of both worlds. Do get to the part where the animatronic tries to stuff you inside a suit until... So when do we get to the part where the animatronic tries to stuff you inside a suit until you make them a pizza? The ending is that you get fired for tampering with the pizza oven after finding kids in the oven. Was that the bake of 87? Or in this case, 06, because that's probably when I played this game. For the first time. We need more tips. Was that the fight of forever? I play games sometimes. What does that link go to? Also, please do not post links in my chat without permission. I don't know if I have that in the rules. If I don't, I'm sorry. But, yeah, that's typically something that, you know, I appreciate. Like, if you're gonna put links in my chat, I'll allow it, but only if you tell me what they are first. You know? Was that the giraffe of Stev? It is the long of boy. Listen. Times have been hard ever since, Gira almost killed Bruiser Brody. You know? Shit's been hard. It's not been the same over in New Japan ever since then. We gotta... Over here in the Long Boy Club, we gotta make ends meet somehow. You know? I had some mods so rarely in this chat, I didn't even think about it. Yeah, the Long Boy Club is usually pretty good at policing itself, thankfully. So... Oh, I can actually move the tickets over to another, like, end of the line while I'm taking an order. That's nifty. Boom. Again, I want to make sure that something is going at all times. But now I know that, like, the Papa games have, like, a pretty big, like, legacy, and they also have, like, just a lot of games in them in general. And I know that if I, like, actually sat down with them, this would become my favorite thing. Did Gira try to stuff Bruiser Brody inside an animatronic suit? Dude, what is it with you and goddamn Freddy Fazbear lately? Like, what is it with you and Freddy Fazbear tonight? Like, we need to have something going at all times here. Otherwise, we're wasting time. Into the oven you go. Which one is this one? This guy. We are crushing this shit, man! Dude, you're wildin' tonight. Dan. Okay. Okay, got it. Bam! Let's make it right here. Bam. Bam. Maybe after I make this... Or maybe after I finish this stable, check out the Papa lore. I think that would be fun. I think that would be a good use of our resources here tonight. Let's see. Cock-a-doodle-doo, motherfucker. Here's your pizza. We are getting these tips crazy style. Here it is, Rita. Your Mamma Mia calls me pizza too. Dude, you are on some shit tonight. What is going on? It's probably the FNAF movie, like Bri said. You know, if I was smarter and less scared of horror games back then, I could have gotten in on the FNAF shit, like, quickly. Like, before it took off quickly. Because I remember getting, like, a code for it, like, early on. That's right, GirafaStev. Dude, that's crazy, I never heard that before. I love that. Cool math. The last official bastion for Java and Flash games. The last real bastion. 4 green peppers. 6 black olives. I think we've used, like, 1 of every topping at this point. And in true pizza fashion, we've only had to use anchovies 1 time so far. You got a code all the way back in, like, 2014, I believe. Or at least, like, I got a link to play it. Right? If I was less of a pussy about horror games, I probably would have gone in on the craze before, like, even Markiplier did. But sadly, I did not do that. So...
Hello, Mario.
Wow, Fight Forever's different. I know, right? There's a lot more pizza in it than you remember. There's much more pizza in it than one may remember. Come on. Get there. Alright, we're gonna start this one. Boom. 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 Into the oven you go. It's ready. You gotta lose yourself in your mom's spaghetti. It's ready. Wait, what do you mean it's not right? Hold on. That shit was the most right it could have been. We gotta start.
Do you smell it? That smell. A kind of smelly smell. The smelly smell that smells. Smelly.
Smelly. Anchovies. What? Anchovies! Man, we got a lot of people waiting in line. We gotta get some of these guys out of here. Here we are. Man, they have a lot of patience, though. Maybe I don't need to worry too much about getting them out of here. Maybe I don't have to worry about, you know, getting them out of here too quickly. Boom. Boom. Sausage pellets. Taking a big old dookie on that pizza, dude. I'm sorry, but even though I like sausage, it looks like dookie. Hold on. This one's almost ready to be cut. Man, we got a lot of people here. You could have tilted it. Boom. And boom. Yeah, they're very patient, honestly. I don't need to, like, worry too much about, you know, getting them out of here quickly, I feel like. Whoa! Hello! Hold on, did I not start? Hold on, did I not start the mushroom pizza yet? Just a second. Oh no, dude, it's starting. It's starting. I'm starting to, like, lose myself in this. Oh no. Yoink. There you go. For wearing a see-through dress in front of kids at the premiere. But listen, she did say SpongeBob Big Guy Pants okay. Maybe she took that personally, you know? Oh no, I'm cutting through the toppings! No, this is not how it's supposed to go! Shit. This isn't how it should go! Okay, well it looks like they were fine with it. And you could have tilted it scariest game ever. No, seriously! Dude, I would have shat myself. At the age of 15. I could have been the first kid who's too young to be on YouTube to play the goddamn scary horror game, you know? How does a song she sang from the movie relate to her wearing a dress that showed her underwear? Listen, she said big guy pants okay, you know? SpongeBob was such a big guy that she had to give him her pants. And she said that that was okay. You know? I don't know what there is to not get about that. Big guy. Listen, one of my favorite things to come out of, like, TikTok recently is a video of, like, all of the SpongeBob VAs fucking singing that in their voice, or at least, like, yeah, I would say singing it, like, in their voice. And it's very, very funny. Because it's just, like, all these old white men doing, like, the Ice Spice thing. It's like, you have, like, Squirt over here be like, SpongeBob, big guy, pants, okay! And it's the funniest thing of all time. And, like, all the comments are just, like, this right here is, like, big brain shit. You know? This right here is, like, the biggest brain shit. And it's like, you have like, Clancy Brown like, big guy, big guy, big guy, big guy. And it is the funniest shit of all time. I need to, like, find it again. Hold on. God damn it. Okay. Oh boy, I'm cracking under pressure, brother. 1, 2... Chat, remind me after this day to fucking check out the Papa lore. Okay? Also, hi Ashley, sorry, I didn't mention you by name. Welcome to tonight's Long Boy Club meeting.
Check out the paper more.
Check out the what? Okay, got it. Check out the Papa lore. You got it. At the very least, he knows I got it. You know? Oh, fuck me. Ah! Okay, yeah, I actually got it out in good time. I'm literally just, like, looking up at the thing there. Yes! I'm sorry, that is way too big. I can't read that at the moment. I'm locked in on the pizza, brother. I am locked in on this pizza. I don't even think I baked this one enough. Hold on. That is a masochistic way of cutting that shit. Wow. It's something about the Flying Dutchman, I know that. I saw that much. Jeebus, did Zorro cut that pizza? Listen, what if he did? I would say he did a fantastic job. Listen, if you saw Squidward's VA going SpongeBob Big Guy Pants okay, would you go and see the movie, chat? Because My roommate just came over and said, yeah.
Hello, Mario.
Who just showed up? I'm sorry, I'm locked in on the pizza. Alright, we got this guy here now. SpongeBob Big Polly Pants okay, chat. Ironside Horse. Damn, AEW really took a new direction with the game. I know, right? This shit fucks. Ah, get out of there! I know, the way I'm cutting these pizzas is pretty sick, huh, chat? Only a sick, twisted psychopath would cut a pizza like the way I cut... I don't even know her name. Was it Rita? Better than Stadium Stampede mode. Also, absolutely, I do think it would have sold better if you could instead... Listen, instead of Stadium Stampede mode, they needed to have, like, a mode where they just had Luigi the pizza guy. Like that one character that, like, Jericho had on, Dynamite once. If they just had a bonus mode where you played as Luigi the pizza guy and it was just this, you know? I think that would have been a great addition to the game. The mode starts with, like, Jericho, like, leaving you and being like, you need to run the store now, and you're playing as, like, the indie wrestler Luigi Pizza Man. Alright. Papa lore time, right? Also, hi, Ironside. Welcome to tonight's Slum Boy Club meeting. Who all do we have here still? Hopefully I haven't lost you. Right, we're gonna pause that because we need to take a look at the Papa lore. Right there.
The Papa's game.
What the fuck is this? Immediately hits me with the most cursed shit imaginable, dude. What?
Game series has been a beloved collection of Flash games for millions of players since the mid-2000s. Yet for years, nobody has tried to figure out how or why these games have the major events they do. Through over a decade of games, I believe that I have found an inescapable rabbit hole of plot that all trickles down into an ever-growing corrupt monopoly led by Papa Louie.
Oh wait, hold on. Can't see it if we're reacting. Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Hold on just a minute. I think that we've gotten our fill of the pizza. Just immediately, like, you have cursed shit going on here. Look at this. Soul, did you have to make this pizza when you were working at the pizza place? Because if you did, I am very sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. Wow. Ouch.
The Papa's game series has been a beloved collection of Flash games for millions of players since the mid-2000s. Yet for years, nobody has tried to figure out how or why these games...
With 6 extra cheese on it? How do you get 6 extra cheese on a pizza? Do you just, like, do, like, mozzarella, but 6 times?
I believe that I have found an inescapable rabbit hole of plot that all trickles down into an ever-growing corrupt monopoly led by Papa Louie, a criminal mastermind who single-handedly took control of his country to his benefit. In this universe, he is either the most dangerous man alive or the most oblivious. This series takes place in the fictional world called the Flipverse. Now, the Flipverse is a landmass of unknown size, yet it's large enough to have at least 3 time zones. I was initially considering the idea of the map being 1,000 by 1,000 miles. The island is definitely large enough.
They paid for it 6 times, is how?
Every game tends to be in a different major
No, but like, how does 6 times cheese work, like, physically? You know? Like, do you just add a layer of cheese, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one? Like, you had to... It doesn't melt with that much easily. Like, okay, well, like, if you just keep putting it in and taking it out, isn't that just, like, burning the fucking crust over time? Right? Aren't you just, like, burning the fucking crust over time? Because I feel like that over time, you would just burn the crust. Yes! Yes! Oh. Okay. Alright, well, how burnt... Well, how burnt was the crust afterwards? Like, by the time that all 6 layers were thoroughly, like, cheesed, how was the crust? All the cheese would overflow off the pizza. Yeah, like, at that point, it wouldn't be a pizza. That would be a casserole, you know?
A more similar comparison would be the largest island of Hawaii, for example, which would be slightly larger than 10,000 square miles. Also, assuming that the
big island
of each game is considered the point that the opening cutscene plays at each game,
It's almost time for a 2-minute Cheetos break, my dudes.
Okay, well, listen, we can't have our lore interrupted here, so we're gonna run the ad. I mean, cheese did kind of keep the crust intact. Intact. Yeah, because, like, the cheese was, like, acting as, like, a fucking, like, shield against, like, you know, the solar rays. You know? It was, like, acting like a fucking Captain America shield through the goddamn, like, solar rays. You know? Neither light, nor dark, nor god, nor demon could pierce the cheese dome. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. The cheese dome is impenetrable.
It's break time. Where the heck's the Cheetos, my dudes?
Raw rolls on after this.
The cinema scenes of Ninja Gaiden 2.
Really?
Now that's a good cinema scene.
We need another one, chat. we need to put another one in there. We need to sacrifice another one to the gods. Hold on just a second. Alright, great. Thank you, Zach. Watch, we're gonna get the controller again. Oh, hey, no, we got another one again.
FOF Speed Round. Here's how it works. We have 3 genres left: racing, sports, and puzzle. We go through each list of games, comment briefly on each title, and you have to guess which title is our favorite from that list. Full reviews are available on our website. Ready, set, go. Racing, R4 Ridge Racer. New and easier cornering controls, plus nice graphics. Star Wars, Episode 1 Racer. Doesn't quite feel like 600 miles per hour as advertised.
Did they ever do the sports and puzzle ones? They do have a sports one.
Weird.
I don't think they did a puzzle. Actually, no. They actually did do a puzzle one, too.
Kids. User-friendly create-a-track mode. Extreme G2. Awesome graphics, lighting effects, and course
I believe
design.
sports is included.
Awesome lighting effects, but often very frustrating.
But I like this one more. Or like I like this one most because of Mario Kart for Kids.
Newman Haas Racing: The Return.
I don't get
and
that.
Lastly, Chocobo Racing, Mario Kart for Kids, but much better than Penny Racers. And the top game is, surprise, surprise, Extreme G2.
Om nom nom. Oh, excuse me, we're back, my dudes.
Mickey Mouse had his own Tetris game. Oh yeah, Disney Tetris. It was kind of like, I don't want to say it was like a big deal back then, but it stood on its own because it had a lot of style to it. Even a giraffe couldn't get their neck through that. Again, the cheese dome is impenetrable. Neither man nor beast nor god nor demon can pierce its mighty crusty exterior. You know? Anytime you try to bite into the pizza, it's like fucking get good. I have the cheese dome.
Larger than 10,000 square miles. Also, assuming that the release date of each
It really
game
was it is it's what Chester warned us about. It really was dangerously cheesy.
in the town of Tastyville, Papa Louie opens a pizzeria. He names this pizzeria Papa's Pizzeria. At some point, Papa Louie decides to host a free pizza day, like the nice guy he is, which leads us to November 6, 2006. Free pizza day has arrived. It's pretty nice of him to do this for the community, but Louie and Roy have a ton of work to make up for it. And as a result, Louie makes sentient pizzas on accident.
Huh?
As punishment, Louie, Roy, and over a dozen innocent customers are sent to Munchmore, a hell dimension which forces Louie to save all of his customers. At the end of this adventure, it's actually revealed that a sentient and evil onion named Sarge created the—
Dude, I never even knew this existed.
in order to ruin Free Pizza Day for his mischievous reasons. Papa Louie then beats Sarge and then actually gives out the free pizzas, as promised at the start of the game. Louie is praised and probably regarded as a hero, which would definitely lead to the rise of his power. But canonically, that card. By the way, there's like a card series for like every character in these games. Papa Louie's reads, he's a lovable Italian chef who got his start selling delicious pizzas. He has a legion of fanatic customers who are willing to try anything Papa.
A legion of fanatic customers?
Or the keys to his latest restaurant. Papa Louie is always trying to reward his customers. The worst thing he does in this series is probably 9 months later. In August 7th, 2007. Louie basically gives Roy a card and says, okay, good luck, bozo, and
Genuinely!
entire restaurant along with every—
Good luck, bozo.
Bozo, and abandons him to solo the entire restaurant along with every single responsibility it holds for an undetermined amount of time. This includes cooking, serving, being in charge of the front, and probably pizza delivery still. But he's only paid in tips, and that is bad. Papa Louie only returns when Roy receives all the gold medals in the pizzeria. During his time missing, Papa Louie is off doing stuff, I guess, and further for another 3 years. 3 years later, December 6th, 2007. This is the legacy of Papa's Burgeria. In the neighboring town of Tastyville, in Burger Burr, Rita/Marty find a golden ticket in their mail, which is also a map for a scavenger hunt.
I feel like I remember this one too.
Burgeria, Louie makes his grand return with Roy, also being there, I guess. Who's running the pizzeria? Nobody knows. Wacky hijinks. Maybe you own it.
Good,
Maybe
good.
you only work for him. It's not really explained. He just gives you the keys. You still get paid in tips. Still bad. May 20th.
You still, dude, this is slave labor. You know? Papa Louie's actually kind of, you know what? No, I don't like this guy. This guy is literally like making money off of slave labor here.
2011, Papa's Taco Mia. Taking place in the far southwest of the Flipverse in Taco Dale, Louie still considers employment at his restaurants as prizes. This time, the keys to the restaurant are given to whoever can win a taco eating contest. Mitch or Maggie end up winning the contest after hours and hours and hours of painful taco consumption. This is revealed where the trophy is actually ownership to the taco meal. Otherwise,
Dude, they don't even want it. They don't even want that shit. That's crazy.
Make field where the trophy is actually ownership to the taco meal. Otherwise, you make food get wages that are definitely not going to keep the business afloat, and Louie returns with the milk once he learned how to make Mexican cuisine. Hooray! August 5th, 2011 is when Papa's Freezeria takes place. For the first time in Papa's history, your character decides to find a job instead of being a victim of peer pressure or getting ownership. Alberto or Penny apply for a job on a deserted island. The manual they're seen reading promises stress-free work and has a solid population of 12. But right after you start your first day, Louie comes in with a cruise ship named the SS Louie for what I would assume is for vacations or visiting, or this is something else. I don't really know. Everything else is the exact same. But one more thing is added to the—
Dude, he's like sadistic.
On the bottom of the poster, your character looks—
When will the tyranny and sadism of Papa Louie end?
Fail to read that employees are expected to use their earned tips on decoration, which, by the way, these decorations are worth a lot. There is no way Papa Louie is deliberately forcing his employees to only get paid in tips and then buy decorations. That's probably illegal. Like, how did the next game is Papa's Pancakeria? And
I remember this one.
you play as Prudence, and the other guy, I forgot his name. Your pet jumps out of a car and goes missing. Oh no! Louis finds your dog and takes care of it until you pick it up. And here he pulls a worse version of what he did to Roy in the pizzeria, and he just goes, hey, your dog legs.
To be fair, I don't think that Papa Louie is committing like any OSHA violations. Like, these are not like unsafe working environments. These are just like really like unfair like labor distribution. I thought I heard something about delicious pancakes. Dude, that's ball. I play games sometimes. Zach, tell him. That's ball.
Here, can you work for me for a little bit? Bye.
Exactly, you gotta call the Better Business Bureau on him.
June 13th, and he just goes,
Pickle really likes it here in the Pancakeria. I need a favor too. Run the shop while I'm gone. No!
Pick it up. And here he pulls a worse version of what he did to Roy in the pizzeria, and he just goes, hey, your dog likes it here. Can you work for me for a little bit? Bye. June 13th, 2012. Chuck/Mandy win a free trip to Starlight City. They get dropped off next to a giant roulette wheel where he's just watching.
What? Chat. What does he have up his sleeve this time? What kind of evil, confounded scheme does he have to trick us into doing free labor? Let's go gambling!
You get a spin that may or may not have been rigged, but who cares? You just won Papa's.
Aw, dang it!
But if Starlight City is far enough to warrant a free trip, how would this make it remotely tolerable for you to work there if you need a free trip to get to Starlight City? That's like living in Ohio and then winning a free trip to Seattle and then being told to work there. You can't do that. Louis, what is wrong with you? That doesn't make sense. It's rigged for the start. From this point on, Louis...
Like literally, like what are my living accommodations if I go to like Starlight City, which I guess is Vegas in this universe? Like, what are my living accommodations? Do I just live above the restaurant now? Dude, that's awful. I can never, like, separate my work from my play. I come from a dare of eating a pound of broccoli. What I meant... One Ponytail, you are going to have such a good colon. That's incredible. Good job. Was it, like, steamed broccoli, or did you at least, like, put stuff on it? That should be the plot for an episode of SpongeBob. Plankton makes an anonymous call to Bikini Bottom's Better Business Bureau in an attempt to get the Krusty Krab shut down and steal the Krabby Patty formula. I'm pretty sure that's been an episode. Steamed broccoli with some steak seasoning. Oh no, that's not enough! That's not enough. It needs to be like sauteed if I'm gonna eat a pound of that stuff. Me paying half attention for a second. Why are we talking about chat's colons? I'm saying because One Ponytail just came back from a dare where she ate a pound of broccoli, and I told her that her colon is gonna be so fucking happy now. You know? They're gonna soak up all the nutrients in that like it's a sponge.
End up giving away restaurants or anything. He just does some pretty nice things, and there's definitely a shift in his actions at this point. Most of these are just him hiring people that are in a bad situation or need assistance. He's a little confused, but he's definitely got the spirit. November 19th, 2012.
Oh, no.
Taylor and Peggy love baseball in Tastyville. Everyone loves baseball in Tastyville. They love pizza and baseball. Like all flip
List of people who hate baseball in Tastyville.
They love pizza and baseball, like all flip variants. These silly billies fail to get a seasonal ticket and decide to work at Papa's hot dog area in order to watch the games for free. So everyone's shocked. They actually have to work and make the hot dogs while watching the baseball games.
Yeah, really.
Otherwise, what's the point? June 5th, 2013. It's Free Burger Day. Hey, wait a minute. June 13th, 2013. It's Free Burger Day. Life in Papa's Burgeria has massively improved for everyone. There are 2 whole employees now. That's double the staff that we saw in 2010. One of them even has a car. The restaurant is full of free fellows on Burger Day until a strange shadowy man wearing a thick jacket and fedora throws a warp coin. By the way, keep track of the warp
coin?
This is gonna be pretty important later on. They throw it into the tip jar, which brings back Sarge and all of the evil food from—
No way!
Oh no! The strange man is actually Radley Maddish. Who is he? I don't know. What does he want to do?
He looks like Fawful, chat. Dr. Radish, or whatever the heck his name is. He fucking looks like Fawful.
Actually, Radley Maddish.
Radley Maddish looks like Fawful from like Mario and Luigi.
What does he want to do? I don't know. But he sure is bad.
He chortles.
So we gotta beat the Burger Zillas to save the day. Eventually, same thing as before.
Oh, goodness me.
And the employees rescue Louis, who was a war prisoner at the moment because I guess he was too—
I have radishes. That's cold. I love that.
And then everyone moves on because there's no reason at all to be sad on Free Burger Day of all days. August 7th, 2013. Louie and Roy get the approval to make a cupcake bakery in Frostfield, which is pretty dang far away from everyone else and everything else. Your stupid character drives into Roy's cart, and Louie says, "Don't worry, you can pay it off by working for me." And he lets you work at the bakery to pay it off. And then you do. That's it. That's the entire, that's all of Cupcakeria. December 9th, 2013.
Honestly, I think that's fair.
Things get bananas.
Oh
This
boy.
game's plot is a love story following the elderly and the man of class, Edorado, as he engages to Olga. Doan in Utah, these names are awful. They get wedding invitations to Portolini, but they can't get any hotel reservations for a single week and 3 months in advance. Oh no! But wouldn't, like, every other character have this issue too? Like, wouldn't everyone just fail to get hotel reservations? Eduardo, you doofus, nobody's gonna be able to make it to the wedding.
I will say, Dan, I keep expecting Papa Louie to hide the bodies of children at one of his restaurants. I don't think he's, like, insane. I just think that he's, like, he's misguided a little bit. And he's also good at, like, siphoning free labor out of people.
So you decide, in order to get to Portolini, you buy the employee package, and then immediately get a delivery with a Pastoria uniform and an airline ticket from Burgerbird to Portolini with a date time of immediately, which is kind of uncool. 3 months later—
Yeah, that's actually kind of shitty. I mean, he's a mad capitalist, so he gotta be a little bit loony. He is obsessed with expansion in this fucking island that's, like, named after all the food that he makes. It's crazy.
Actually happens, and Papa Louie officiates, which implies that along with giving away
Defuse a hostage crisis.
Restaurants, owning at least 6 other ones, and having a cruise ship, he is canonically a registered priest.
Wow. Man of the cloth. And man of... Not the cock. I don't think that he's that kind of guy. I just think that... I don't know. Would you tap this chat? Would you tap Papa Louie? I don't know if I would. I feel like that once I do, he's gonna want me to work for him, you know?
Oh my god!
I feel like if I do, he's gonna want me to work for him.
Father Louis can officiate my wedding. Father.
Who are you marrying, homunculus?
Canonically, a registered priest.
Man of the cloth.
June 14th, 2014. You apply at a donut place in an amusement park. You want to get a free fast pass to the iconic roller coaster, the Sky Ninja, I guess. Assuming your character is only doing this for the fast pass, they are a massive Dumbo and totally deserve
what a mark.
Cheeto. I hope. Wait, I eated him. Never mind.
I eated him? Mom, I threw up.
For another year, which means that your little goon is now part of Papa Louie's empire. But eventually the Sky Ninja does work, which is cool. On March 4th.
No, dude, like literally, like look at this. Hold on. Let's run this shit back. Let's run this one back. So he wants to get on a roller coaster, right?
Place in an amusement park, you want to get a free fast pass to the iconic roller coaster, the Sky Ninja, I guess. Assuming your character is only doing this for the fast pass, they are a massive Dumbo and totally deserve to watch the Sky Ninja get delayed for another year, which means that your little goon is now part of Papa Louie's empire. But eventually the Sky
Dude, he literally is just like, I would do anything to ride this roller coaster, including get a job. Including confronting one of humanity's biggest fears. A job! A job!
It does work, which is cool. On March 4th, 2015, the Sundays attack. This follows the SS Louie we saw back in Papa's Freezeria. The cruise is filled
Just
to the
wait,
brim with
Papa
people.
Louie will
Over
start
a
his
dozen
own religion and
guests,
form
they're
the
all
world's
celebrating
largest
the
cult.
seaside
Then he
Freezeria,
opens
which is
Papa's
like a
town where they
Freezeria,
serve
but on
nothing
a
but
cruise
special
ship. Radish guy
Kool-Aid.
does an evil and does the Hell Dimension thing and sends everyone to Munchmore again, which is not cool. But it doesn't matter because...
Dude, what the fuck? He keeps sending us to like these alternate dimensions.
Sends everyone to Munchmore again, which is not cool. But it doesn't matter because the bad gets no win. He doesn't win because he's a bad guy, and bad guys don't win. Everyone celebrates.
Yo, don't like that one, Chief. What are you referring to with that, Dan?
Their victory by running off the ship as fast as possible. The next game takes place on June 10th of 2015. If you are lactose intolerant, please cover your ears because I'm talking about Papa's Cheeseria in Toastwood. The iconic band Scarlet and the Shakers are gonna perform on opening night. But right after checking in with Louie, all the equipment is stolen because of the situation. Scarlet and or Rudy have to work and earn money to get new equipment. Honestly, good job, Louie. That's pretty dang respectful. You understood the situation and you tried to help. After months of working, you reach rank 65. The cool man policeman Hank arrests Guy Mortadello, but all the equipment is returned and they have a concert at the grilled cheese restaurant. Hooray! March 14th, 2016. Cecilia, or Tim with 2 M's instead of 1, find a dream job working at a...
Well, all religions start as cults, linguistically speaking.
Really,
Genuinely, I don't even think that he is... I don't think he belongs to a religion. I just think that he likes wearing a cloth. Right, like, I just think that he likes wearing the priest gown. Makes him feel big, you know? Makes him feel big and strong.
For the stars there. You apply and get the job. Woohoo! But the store is closed for lease when you arrive. Oh no! Then Louie skedaddles to your devastated character and offers you the chance to work at his bakery. In my opinion, that seems better than a dance studio. You work there, same old, but at the ending of the game, this is probably the nicest thing Papa Louie does. After 9 months of working, Papa Louie gives you a Christmas...
You can get ordained pretty easily for free legally.
...studio for your character. That's...
Like, do you even need, like, a goddamn, like... Like, do you need to, like, confirm that you belong to, like, any, like, religion? Or, like, any, religion? Or no? Anyways, I need to go back in the video a little bit.
On June 10th of 2015. If you are lactose intolerant, please cover your ears because I'm talking about Papa's Cheeseria in Toastwood, the iconic band.
There's a church that lets you get ordained for free.
On opening night. But right after checking in with Louie, all the equipment is stolen because of the situation. Scarlet and or Rudy have to work and earn money to get new equipment. Honestly, good job, Louie. That's That's pretty dang respectful. You understood the situation and you try to help. After months of working, you reach rank 65. The cool man policeman Hank arrests Guy Mortadello, but all the equipment is returned, and they have a concert at the grilled cheese restaurant. Hooray! March 14th, 2016. Cecilia, or Tim...
It's kind of a church that started so people who can't afford to get married. Oh, Universal Life Church. So people who can't afford to get married can have someone they know marry them. That's why you just like pick someone out from a crowd and you're like, I will marry you. You, me, ring, this very instant. It's kind of a church that started so people who can't afford to get married can have someone they know marry them.
Out of one. Find a dream job working at a dance studio in their local Whisk View Mall.
Yeah, I guess like a free wedding is good, you know?
The stars there. You apply and get the job. Woohoo! But the store is closed for lease when you arrive. Oh no! Then Louis skedaddles to your devastated character and offers you the chance to work at his bakery. In my opinion,
because you do need someone who is ordained to officiate you legally.
You work there, same old, same old. But at the ending of the game, this is probably the nicest thing Papa Louie does. After 9 months of working, Papa Louie gives you a Christmas present. He buys the closed dance studio for your character. That's a pretty expensive and nice thing to do for an employee, so I gotta give props to him for that. Even though he doesn't have knees. The next game in the timeline is Slider Scouts. It was released in October 4th of 2016. It's a mobile game. December 13th, 2016, it has officially been 1 whole decade since the pizzas have attacked, and Louis opens a sushi place, which is literally on the opposite side of the pizzeria and everything else, but that's okay. Matt, or Clover, win a trip to Sakura Bay, but not to get a new restaurant, but just to get an early tour. Yes, you, of all people, get to go across the country to get a sneak peek of that sushi fast food place from Papa Louie. But you, being the silly character you are, knock over a lucky cat statue, and Louis decides it's no big deal, nothing can go wrong. The next day, everything goes wrong.
Oh, hold on.
Comes to the grand opening, and Louis blames it on the cat statue, not because you're in a...
If you ever want an accolade, that's available. You can be an ordained minister in minutes, LMAO. It's not affiliated with any particular religion. Chat, what if I become an ordained minister for the Long Boy Club? What if I go from your president to your ordained minister? You want to start a cult? You want to start a cult about wrestling and Cheetos and homunculi?
Deserted area across the entire country. It's just
and not playing AEW Fight Forever.
As punishment, Louis decides that you can work for him, and eventually he'll use those tips to buy a giant cat statue, which he does. He buys a giant golden cat statue, and
you can start the Ministry of Legs.
Awesome. A year and a half later, it's July 24th, 2018, and Carlo Romano
Listen, bro, that would be great.
Go to the big city to celebrate the fact that they all have weird names. They go to Onion Town, a town with that name because apparently onions fell into the ocean at some point. You do stuff, you go shopping, and you even take a picture next to Onion Jenny. Whoa! Tubular. But just like Pastaria, but objectively dumber, you can't find a hotel. A very kind hotel worker offers you a room for rent, but then it's revealed that this kind gentleman is actually Guy Mortadello. Oh no, he's back for vengeance. He's out of jail now and he steals your things. Oh great heavens, what are you to do now? Next day, July 25th, 2018. You wake up and you find out that your room was actually the Scooperia under construction, and Louis employs you after realizing you don't have any money to get home or get your things or some sort of third thing. Same old game, same old stuff, and eventually Guy Mortadello gets arrested. Again. Papa Louie hands you back all the things you were stolen.
Listen.
And even gets you a golden ice cream scoop. Large time gap, 2.5.
To be fair, I'm gonna give him this. I think that even though the circumstances around it are pretty absurd, I think that the fact that he sees, oh, this guy was sleeping above my restaurant. He's obviously down on his luck. He's in a city he's not familiar with. He doesn't have a way to get home. Fuck it, kid. I'll help you get home. You know? Like, I don't know. Would a bad guy really do that? I don't think he would, chat. I don't think he would.
2.5 years later, it's March 2nd of 2021. Your character applies for a job and is hired at the Mocharia in New Pepperton. There's no twist this time. That's the entire thing. But
oh wow,
you do have to work in a documentary that will premiere at the Sugarplex Film Fest. That happens and you get awards. Customers are also being credited for being customers. Good job, Wally. And this brings us to the most recent point in the timeline. It is February 22nd, 2022, which is actually 2/22/22, and it's on a Tuesday. This does not matter to the plot, just wanted to throw that out.
Cool.
Wyland B are looking for a job at Oilseed Springs. They apply and get hired at Papa's Cluckeria, and 3 weeks later, you get a notification that the Cluckeria is competing against other chicken places and other unassorted restaurants nearby. Papa Louie responds by abandoning.
What?
That's right.
Dude!
The most recent event in this series is a war arc. One by one, each enemy falls. Mortadello is back. Just
That's a good Shadow the Hedgehog music, by the way.
He's gone now because of health violations. He was serving pigeon meat. As Valentine's Day approaches, which would mean that we're currently in February of 2023, New Coop closes because investors like Cluckeria's slushies more, I guess. That's it. That's their entire thing. Summer of 2023, the Crumple sisters have a new recipe at the Crumple family chicken restaurant place, and it's actually the secret formula that was stolen from Papa Louie. Papa Louie returns and the Crumple sisters are questioned for stealing Papa Louie's Krabby Patty secret formula, and as a punishment they are thrown into a maximum security prison with no chance of escape. The chicken sandwich wars are over, and Papa is victorious. But just kidding, the following day, it's revealed that the Crumple sisters used a warp coin from when the burgers attacked, all the way back to 2013. At this point, and that's from what I can tell, everything that's gone on. I have no idea how Papa Louie is such a tyrant he is. I have no idea what all of these customers do in their free time besides eat food at unassorted restaurants across the country, and I have no idea how large the actual country is. Is it even a country? Is it an island? Is it the entire planet? I don't think you should care either. This is a silly cartoon series about cooking food. The characters don't even have knees. I want to see Roy be successful. I want to see redemption arc for Guy Mortadello. I want to see what the Crumple sisters are up to. But maybe just
Guy Mortadello needs a redemption arc, honestly.
What all of these characters have in store in the next installment, or at least what I think the next installment will be, Papa's Stir Fryeria. Okay, but seriously, how did he afford the SS Louis?
What do you mean, how did he afford the SS Louis? He has like 5 different restaurants up until that point. That money is rolling right in, you know? The money is rolling right in. Much like the end of this stream, because we are now 3 hours and 10 minutes into this stream. And chat, don't worry, I didn't forget about the cookies here. I didn't forget about them at all. This shit is getting ordered. It will be here. Eventually. I don't know how fast they are with like getting shit over here. But they'll be here. Eventually. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for fucking putting up with me while I didn't do the thing I said I was gonna do again. Next time we'll do it for sure. Big thumbs up all around for everyone involved in this whole mess that we've created together. In this whole mess that we created together. Oh, I'm sure LMAO, affectionate. Well, I hope you all had fun. Let me see if there's anyone that we want to raid tonight. Actual gameplay next time. Trust it, brother. Trust the process. Hold on. I will go ahead and raid into, I don't know. Hold on. Because I want to try to raid into someone that I haven't raided into for a while, but the usual options are put in front of me. And they're really good options, chat. They're really good options. I don't know what to tell you. Damn. Hold on. I think we will raid into Mr. Cole. Why not? Let's do that. let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, chat. Thank you for putting up with me for a fucking hour. Actually, no, for 3 hours, in fact. For 3 whole hours you put up with me. I love you all very much. Again, we're gonna get the cookies here. I will once again have them in the pre-stream for an upcoming stream. Next time we actually will play Fight Forever, it will be my final stream of 2025. Yeah. Yeah. Let me go ahead. Let me get the right there. That right there is what we're doing. Long Boy Club Love. It's right there in the stream chat, like always. Yeah. I'll see you guys next time for when we actually do play Fight Forever. Have a good night, everyone.